Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome, everyone, for episode 405 of the Massenomics podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing. Recorded live from western northeast South Dakota and eastern southeast South Dakota. My name is Tanner.
And my name is Tommy. And I love parties that never end and burritos at 4 a.m.
And the twins!
I'm glad you said it for me.
I want to see how many episodes we can go in a row where we open with the twins bit.
Well, they give us a lot to work with, so I'm guessing probably at least 10 to 15 more weeks.
We got a streak. That's 3 in a row. That's officially a streak.
It's like a segment kind of now.
Yeah. And the twins. Anyone that doesn't like the whole twins bit is really like, oh, God, they're doing the twins thing again.
Or born after the year 2000. It's like, what's happening right now? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
They're like, oh, God, is this going to be like 15 minutes of talking about those twins?
This literally makes no sense. This guy likes late parties, burritos, and twins.
And the twins. We do have a lot to talk about this week. We got a special guest coming on, the CEO of Bells of Steel. We got that coming up. We got a whole mix of topics. I know there's been some sports going on. We'll find out if we've had any books going on.
Would you say we're going to take him to business school when he's on here?
We're going to go to business school. We're going to
strap in. It's time for a pop quiz.
Weather-wise, just thinking weather off the bat, not a lot of note. It's like, it's a little chilly, but it's pretty moderate, I guess.
One thing that stuck out to me, I got a little sneak peek of this week's YouTube video, and in that video, there's some footage of you driving around western northeast South Dakota, and what did stand out was the fact that there is snow on the ground there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's snow. There's not that much, but it's not going anywhere as of yet.
We don't have that. I got neighbors that have borderline green grass.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's snow. It when it snowed and then it rained on top of it and froze. Mm-hmm. I wonder if it created like this crust that's like really hard for it to go away.
Protective layer.
And then it's always about like 30 degrees. So I think it's usually just cold enough to keep it hanging on there. But it is January now, so I'm already stoked at like how that we've made it this far into winter and had it be pretty reasonable.
Would you say we're halfway there, John Bon Jovi?
Oh, we're halfway there. Hold on. What is that?
Living on a prayer.
Yeah, so that song title is Living on a Prayer. Yeah. Okay. What do you think of Bon Jovi?
Definitely. Okay, he did the thing everyone does now, or I shouldn't say now. He was maybe a pioneer of it. He went from rock to country, right? Didn't he?
Oh, he did?
Didn't he have a country career later on?
Maybe. I don't know that Bon Jovi is he ain't my bag, baby.
Yeah, it's just that 80s. It's not even like 80s. Well, maybe it is like 80s hair rock, but it's in a different way. It seemed like it was more of a squeakier, cleaner version of it than what Motley Crue was doing.
Speaking of squeaky clean, too, make sure to. Oh, wait, actually, let me restart this. Come with me. If you want to lift, I just need your individual differences, your specific training styles, and your height, weight, amount that you sleep per night, and how you feel. This is, of course, a Juggernaut AI ad read, and that's my Arnold.
That sounded very threatening, the way that you screamed that in that Arnold voice.
Yeah, so Juggernaut AI and all those things that I was talking about are just some of the inputs you need to put in when you're setting this training template up, or not template. I guess that's actually not the right word. It's this programming that you're going to set up. You need to know about your individual differences, your weak points, like I said, height, weight, nutrition habits, sleep habits, how you feel that day, how each set feels, how each rep of each set feels almost to a certain extent. And then it'll slowly start to adapt as you're going. It'll become more adapted for you
live.
specifically. Yeah, becomes less general and more specific the longer you use it. I would say you have to make sure to give honest, accurate as possible feedback, though. It's essential to making it work properly, as it is only as good as the inputs that you feed it. So do take care when you're trying that. And if you want to check out, learn more, to go to juggernautai.app. That's where you can sign up. That's where I insist that you sign up and use discount code Massenomics. That'll save you 10% for the lifetime of the membership, but you do have to use the discount code on the web browser, not through the app. So go to juggernautai.app, get signed up there. It ends up being like $30 a month is all for pretty advanced with coaching that doesn't have a coach actually there with you. So check it out, juggernautai.app.
And today's episode is also brought to you by Swisslink. Since 1995, Swisslink has been importing military-issue goods to the United States and into the hands of those yearning for quality gear at uncompromised prices. Swisslink.com carries all you can imagine, from British tactical vests to Italian Navy deck shoes. Now, those sound fancy. Swisslink is also home to the authentic Kaevon fuel cans. Tanner, did I say that right? You're kind of the military guy.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's right.
They're from the same factory that has been making so-called jerry cans for the NATO forces since 1940. Kaevon fuel cans are made from 0.9 millimeter cold-rolled steel. Kaevons are the highest quality gas cans on the market. Now, here's where things get interesting. I hope you're buckled in over there. Big Mo has since decided that a high-quality water can was needed as well. So Swisslink developed a stainless steel water can to match. It fits all your Kaevon jerry can holders and is made from food-grade 304 stainless steel, so you can trust it to carry drinking water. The cap is knurled for a good grip, and the spout screws into the bottom of the cap for convenient storage. A vent at the top ensures good flow, and the can has the same three-handle configuration as its fuel counterpart. This is another addition to Swisslink's exceptional collection and dedication to quality customer service, and that distinguishes them from the rest. Enjoy a 15% discount on your next purchase at Swisslink.com by entering code MASS at checkout. That's 15% off with code MASS, M-A-S-S, at Swisslink.com. Thank you, Swisslink.
They've got food-grade stainless steel. We've got aircraft-grade aluminum.
After reading that, I kind of feel like between hearing 0.9 millimeter cold-rolled steel and 304 stainless steel, that maybe our metal game, we have to up that a little bit. We have to have more
we need more description about the...
Yeah, more numbers and descriptions.
I think you're onto something there. Okay. What do you got, a can over there or something?
Oh, yes, I do.
What do you got, something to drink or something?
Mm-hmm.
I've got something to drink or something right here. I've got it in my handy. Speaking of the Drink Spotter Light, I've got a beverage in my Drink Spotter Light, and I don't know if I had this last week or a couple weeks ago, but I've got an orange cream bubbly. And
yeah,
that
was last week.
Okay, it matches my baby shit yellow shirt. It actually doesn't match it. What do you call when two colors almost don't go together very well?
Clash.
It kind of clashes. I don't know if it clashes.
I got a question here. Is the flavor you really like tart cherry limeade?
Yeah, I really like tart cherry limeade.
Because this is just cherry limeade. They left the tart out, apparently.
Maybe I made tart
No,
up.
because I could have swore tart was on there too. So maybe I got to know this. Oh, polar. Here. Oh, polar. That's why, because it's a polar. This is a Waterloo. Oldest trick in the book.
Zigged when you should have zagged, I think.
That was the problem.
I assume that's a delicious beverage, though.
It is. It is quite good. It's very good.
I don't know what I gave this bubbly last time, but I'm giving it a 4 because it is It is a fine beverage.
I think he gave it a 4 last time as well.
4 JD Power and Associates awards all day.
Mm-hmm. And this is probably 4 territory too. Cherry limeade is a good flavor.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's top tier.
Mm-hmm.
What did you want to get to first here? I see you got quite a few. You got quite a few things.
I got
on
all
the list.
types of things to talk about. First one, I actually got to ask you. Did you get that New Year's rush at the gym?
Oh no,
What?
No, we don't.
You missed it.
Massenomics Gym is famous for not having a New Year's
no New Year's rush.
There is not a New Year's rush.
Wow.
Is it like that at I forget? Is that a thing? So now you would have an experience like, so is that a thing? Like, is there a lot of people in the gym?
I can say today it was a thing actually, because normally the last gym I went to was always pretty busy, so it was just hard to tell, and there were so many kids there. But this gym, very few people, I don't see very many high schoolers in there at all. Like, very rarely do I see people that I think are in high school. Maybe 1 or 2 when I'm there, and that's it.
Yeah.
And usually, lately I've been going to the gym around like 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon. And usually when I go, there's between 4 and 10 people there. And a certain number of those people are on cardio machines. So I still never have to wait for anything. It's never been a problem.
Right.
It doesn't bother me one bit. Today I counted and there was a little over 20 people there. And that is the most I've seen by far. So you could say that is more than double.
Right.
I didn't recognize any of these other people either. It wasn't like we all just showed up on the right day. It was like faces I'd never seen before. So it was definitely a thing. Still didn't have to wait. No one was there to squat. If you were curious about that, no one was there to squat or use the reverse hyper. So I had those all to myself. But,
yeah. So do you think in your estimation that some of those people were resolutioners?
I think they maybe were. Yeah, I do think it would be weird that there was the busiest day I'd ever seen. You know, I've been going to this gym for about 3 months now, that the busiest day I've ever seen just happens to be like the first day after New Year.
Right.
Like, that seems like a big coincidence. And you know, the busiest day by far, it's not even like it was slightly busier. It was like 2 to 3 times busier than normal. So
nobody's joined Massenomics Gym in January yet. I mean, the month is young, but there's been no new joinees.
we are to January 2nd. So you're going
to. Right.
It'll be over before you know it.
It is. This month is official. The largest number of members we have ever had at the gym, though.
That's what we were talking about the other day.
I don't attribute it to. It's not New Year's resolution related whatsoever, but it is. We are at our largest number of members ever.
That's
that
pretty
we've
cool.
had for a given month. Yeah. We're over 70. If anyone's keeping tabs, over 70 members for the first time.
Put that in the record book.
Not necessarily by design, but
it's just
not intentionally. But
I don't think anyone's still like waiting around to use stuff, are they?
No, you actually can't tell one bit. Like, well, it's so spread out. What? There's still, even amongst that many people, there's going to be just about, there's going to be a fraction that don't even show up ever. Mm-hmm. And then we have so many people that go at like 4, 5, 6 a.m. and then like noon, and there is no like evening.
There's no busy time. It is just so evenly spread.
Yeah, it's just really from like 4 a.m. until 9 or 10 p.m. There's kind of a few people there all day.
Yeah,
it's
so
traffic.
Rare if I ever go down there, because lately when I go down there, it's odd hours during the middle of the day. And there's always just 1 or 2 people down there. It's never empty.
Yes.
It's
almost
really weird if you go
empty.
and the lights are off. You're like, what is going on right now?
Your only chance of catching it empty probably is if you show up between midnight and 4 a.m. like those 4 hours. That is about it.
So if you really want to avoid crowds, that's when you have to go.
Yes. Well, there's no crowds ever, but if you want to avoid all people of any kind,
that's your best bet.
That would be your best bet.
All right, the insider tips here. So do you tell that to people during orientation, that if you want to avoid all people, make sure you come between these hours?
Come between, yes. I do usually check and see what time people say they're going to go, but no, for no reason other than curiosity, probably.
Yeah, and then you could potentially be like, oh, so-and-so's there, and you just have an idea of who's lifting with who.
Yeah, yes, that's true. So not a big gym New Year's resolution, but there is a new thing I've been going to in Western Northeast South Dakota. not a gym. Maybe this is my New Year's resolution.
Oh.
I never even thought about it till right now.
Oh, I'm very interested
I know
here.
it's been well documented on the podcast. I won't get into it about me being a noon ball
We know
basketball
that,
guy.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, noon ball's back too. Actually, noon ball was on a 2-week hiatus here.
Yes, with the
Today was our
holidays.
first day back at and holidays, and then they refinished the court over the
okay,
break.
okay.
So today was our first day back, and thankfully it was a half court.
Right, where
day,
some people
it was
working off the hangover
right,
and the
yes,
overeating.
Yes, yeah. So it was just. I actually already said I wasn't going to talk about noon ball, so I'm going to table that for a future week's discussion. And it's been replaced with you'll know about this a little bit, but I don't know how much you know about it. But our private school in Western Northeast South Dakota closed its doors this last year.
Oh,
It
college.
no longer, college,
Yeah.
private college, presentation college is no longer a thing, and they had a decent gym facility and weight room, and
I mean, they pumped a lot of money into that in the last 10 years.
and they had an outdoor turf domed what are those called, like it's kind of like what the old Metrodome was, a sense.
Yeah, well, they had it was a it was
pressurized-
weird because it was a turf
Yeah.
practice field, a full 100-yard turf practice
Yep.
football field. But then in the wintertime, they would, I don't even know what that was, but they would put a dome over it so you could use it in the wintertime.
So you could use it. They would use it for like soccer and different things like that. But now the city, since the college is closed, the city owns or runs it. I don't know what the deal is, but anyone can go. It's like $2 a day to use the facilities. You can use the dome, the basketball court, the weight room, any of that, and it's $2 a day.
Really?
And so the dome is the football field, and then there's a track. There's not an actual track around it, but they have there's enough turf outside of the field that there's a pretty wide track all the way around it.
So is
And
it a
then
turf
there's
track or what is?
Yeah, it's turf.
Okay,
It's
okay.
not a track like a 8-lane track
Right.
or a
But
4-lane
is
track.
there lanes drawn on the ground though?
No, there's not. It's
Okay.
but there's it's
just
like the
room
width
around it.
It's the width of like an 4-lane track
Okay.
basically.
Yep.
So that's where people go run and walk, and then the field is open for whatever you want to do, and then there's like batting cage area on the one end because there's extra space and stuff. It's really cool actually
Yeah.
because if you're from Northeast South Dakota or the Midwest in general, during the winter you kind of lose some of these.
Unless you're like on a basketball court, there's nowhere
Right.
to just run openly.
Right. So like I took my son Jack and a group of his friends, and we went a time there was nobody else on the football field.
Really?
So we had a 100-yard game of flag football,
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
and it was so fun. And I was just roasting sixth graders left and right. I looked like frickin' Michael Vick out there.
Just showing them really
To
what's
my
up.
own horn. It was actually me and the really little kids versus kind of all the medium kid. It was like me and the fourth and second, and the young me and the younger brothers versus the
older-
sixth graders. Yeah, and we were roasting them. Although the 100-yard field is so far.
Yeah.
And like you make a play,
That's a lot
and
of
you're like
running.
running laterally a little ways, and then you're running the field. I'm like, that is insane to run that fast for that far, especially like multiple times in a row.
Well, and then you look at receivers.
And I shouldn't
that-
even say that fast, but to run that hard that far multiple times in a row. But my big takeaway from it, I've been doing a little bit of noon ball, and I kind of had gotten sore from that, and I wasn't really getting sore from that anymore. But when I played this flag football, for the next 2 days after that, my delayed onset muscle soreness was.
But why would that be that
brutal.
much worse?
I don't know. I think the cutting, the hard cutting from sprinting.
But do you not do that in basketball though?
In basketball, it's a lot less often a sprint.
Oh,
it feels like to me,
okay. I suppose. Yeah.
It's more like constant movement, but it's less frequent like actual sprints, at least in what I'm doing. If I'm handling the ball, like if I'm dribbling,
Right, you're not
I'm not
sprinting full speed.
sprinting.
Yeah.
But if
every
you have
play is not a fast
yeah,
break.
but if you have a ball, the football in your hand, and you're like trying to
Yeah, you're running for your
allude
life.
you're literally, you're actually at like and there again, even I probably don't quite sprint, but even like a 95%.
Yeah.
So yeah, I that's what I was just gonna say is I got so sore from that I couldn't believe it. I woke up the next day and I'm like, why can I not walk right now? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I guess from that. Like, so anytime I do anything that's just any different than what I normally do.
Yeah, and even just slightly different.
That's why I'm like, because what you're saying even is kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, why am I not covered from this from the routine
I thought you were going to say
basketball?
like, after basketball, I can't get sore anymore. I run so much.
No, that's what I kind of had hoped would happen, but and I'm just hypothesizing why it's different, but it's definitely different. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I could see that. I do forget that not every single play in basketball is an all-out fast break.
Right.
People will walk the ball down the court and maybe set something up. And yeah, okay. Well, that is cool though. So what's the temperature in that thing?
It's warm. It's t-shirt weather. I mean, it's not hot. It's like 60s.
Okay, but yeah, it is like you can comfortably wear t-shirts and shorts.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I was drenched in sweat. By the time we did like 2 plays, I was like, whoa! I greatly underestimated how hot and tiring this would be.
Yeah, that would be.
I told the little kids on my team we have to I started huddling them in every play, and then I was whispering, and I'm like, we don't really need to talk about plays. I just need a break every time.
That's good. That's good.
But it is cool though. Like, I don't understand the economics of it.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be because I just doing the math. Like, there's someone taking the toll booth person at like each place. And I'm like, just even to pay them their wages,
right?
Like, $2 a piece. This isn't making any sense to me.
Well, and
it's open like every single day.
Yeah, even if you said 100 people showed up every day, it's like, well, that could be it on Sundays. It's
right?
Like, that's $200. Right. That doesn't pay for anything.
No, but it's a great thing for my wife has been going every single day for walking, just like literally
that would be to walk, because that's the Midwest thing is people will just go to a mall just to go somewhere to walk because you can't walk outside when things. Well,
and our mall is gross.
Yes,
and she even said that she's like, and this is kind of cool and fun.
Uh-huh.
And then like when you're walking around, there's people. Then the other times I've been there, there's people doing like pickup soccer games. There's people in the batting cages. There's just like kids and parents playing catch and playing baseball and all this stuff. I'm like, it's just actually fun. It's like being out at a park. People that don't live in places like South Dakota, this is just like what you do outside all year round.
We're describing outside.
But in South Dakota in January, it's a pretty novel thing for me to have this much space that's just really easy access that you can do indoor. Yeah,
it's basically like you live in a space shuttle and you can't go outside or you'll die. Space is at a premium.
It's kind of like that, though.
Yeah. Yep, just like that. I had one thing to say, and I feel like maybe you're rubbing off on me, and I'm worried. For the first time ever in my life, I have hip pain, and I have no idea what that is from. Yeah. I can't ever say that it hurt in the gym or anything. There just one day. It wasn't even like I woke up one day. It's like halfway through the day, I'm like, I feel like every once in a while I can get my hip to pop. And I'm like, I just feel like it's got to pop. And, like right when something's got to pop, like right when you're about to the point, it's like, it hurts. And then you can pop it and you get through the point and you're good.
Yeah.
And it won't get there. And I thought, well, this will for sure be gone tomorrow. That was last Thursday. And then Friday it wasn't gone. Saturday it wasn't gone. Well, here we are at what is Tuesday today. And it's still there. And everything else has been feeling about as good as it's felt in 6+ months.
Good,
it all feels great right now. But that hip has me a little concerned that that's not coming around. And I don't know what the hell it is. I did manage to get through a squat workout today. I just had to kind of narrow up my stance a little bit to make things feel better, but I'm not sure what that is. So I'm gonna keep my eye on that one, but a little concerned at the moment.
That's a preview of the week that this comes out, our YouTube video that comes out. Then I guess I talk a little bit, it's a training vlog, and I talk a little bit about the hip pain. But what you're describing, you're just like, I just need to like rotate them and pull them, and then they'll pop, and it'll feel better. My hips have felt like that for like 3.5 years now, like all day, every day, all night, every night, where they just need to like, I'll lay in bed and be like, if it would just like do something different, it might feel better. And there's no pop.
It's very, and if I had to, like when you do the hip flexor stretch, when you have one leg out and the other one, you're kind of like into your hip flexor, your groin.
Yeah.
I mean, that is right where it's at. It is just like in one specific spot.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm still holding out. I keep thinking one of these days I'm going to wake up and it's just going to be completely gone. But
It probably will be.
I hope so. I've never had any hip pain in my, like, that's what was so confusing for me. I'm like, I've never even felt this before. I didn't know you could actually,
Right.
I thought it was just something Tanner talked about. I didn't know this actually happened to people.
Let's hope it doesn't ruin your life like it does me.
Well, I got that to look forward to.
I have I'm joking when I say that also because it's kind of serious, but like, I'm just also like, accepting the fact that no, my hips are basically going to hurt.
This is just how it is
until
now.
I'm an old man and probably get like, I don't know, hip replacement surgery. It would just be surprising if that didn't happen to me at some point. I do think it's more like it's a genetic thing as much as anything probably. And I'd be heading towards it no matter what. So, because some people would be like, oh yeah, it's all the heavy lifting over the years. And I'm like, maybe it is, or maybe like
not.
maybe my grandpa and my dad both like had hip problems and like didn't lift at all, you know, and probably by the time they were 40 were like, yeah, my hips hurt too.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I don't know that it's, you know, it's easy to blame things on lifting sometimes,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yes.
but maybe it makes it better. You know, maybe it's like, nah,
To have a
actively doing
scapegoat.
stuff all right.
But like you're saying, maybe lifting actually helps it. You're saying,
Right.
Yeah,
That's not impossible, you know, to an extent, like that's probably,
or maybe it's better because it gives you an actual thing to blame it on too. You can say, "Oh, this is
that's
all
true.
lifting's
Like also
fault."
lifting. Yeah,
It gives your doctor something to blame it on. That's for sure.
that's true. It's the damn lifting.
We were kind of just on the topic of football, but did you watch the Washington football game, Tanner?
I watched the Michigan Alabama game. I watched most of that
And that
game.
was
actually.
that was a good college football game.
That was a hell of a game.
Yeah, that is a lot of the bowl
that
games
was-
sucked really bad, but that was a fun game to watch.
That was a hell of a game. I watched the beginning of the Washington game, but old Coach DeBoer pulled it out, so I was excited to see
Oh
that.
my God.
Of course.
I stayed up to watch it. I'm like, I've watched so many of their football games because I like last night. I'm like, this is the night I'm going to bed early, and then I didn't realize how
Yeah.
late that game was starting to go. Like, I've watched way too many of their games this season to quit watching this one, you know, which could potentially
Yeah.
be the last game. And then it was getting close to being done. I'm like, there's no point. Did you see the highlights of how it broke down at the end?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, there's no point in me even staying up. But then I'm like, maybe I'll just stick around. And God, I about had a heart attack at the end. I haven't got that amped up watching a football game because I haven't been vested. I haven't had any
Right.
interest in a team
I
in
haven't
so
had a
long.
reason to care.
Yeah. And so that's like the first time I've cared in a while. And man, I haven't been that worked up watching a football game in a long time. It really
So
did.
far, we're right on our predictions, though,
Yeah.
I guess, too.
We are.
Now we just got to have Washington take on the
Michigan.
the
So
maize
yeah,
and blue.
I would love. I'm just really happy to see that Alabama's not in it, but I would love.
Me too.
I would love to see Washington win. I mean, that would any other year I'd be like, oh, I'd say Michigan, but
Right.
yeah, Washington all the way.
Yeah. What was I going to say? There was one other point I had on. Oh, yeah, because I was watching the Michigan-Alabama game, and when it got over, I'm like, oh, I wonder what channel the other game is on, because I'm like, it had to have already started by now. You know, I'm like, this went into overtime, and like, looking at the clock, I'm like, oh, they're probably like almost to the second quarter. I'm like, it's on this channel? And
I did the exact same thing. I kept thinking, oh, overtime. I'm missing the other game, but
Yeah.
this is overtime, so it's worth missing
Yeah.
it. And then I'm looking for it, and it's like, oh no, it's coming up.
and that was the moment I knew that I would not be seeing the end of that
I
game.
think the game got done. It was damn near midnight, and then I was all worked up from the game, so I had to just like cool down
Right.
for a while. Like, I wasn't ready to fall asleep until 12:30, 1 o'clock last night, which is too late.
Yeah. That, like, watching that Michigan-Alabama game is a reminder to me of why I like sports, though, too, because I really didn't care too much who won either way. I was preferring to Michigan to go in. But just like the way things were playing out, I kept finding myself being like, oh, man, you know, just like vocally saying things out loud, just like, oh, man, like, holy cow. And, you know, and without even caring really who won, but just because it's so exciting. It just like when the Michigan punt return.
Well, and that's what I kind of feel like that is part of the college thing is you see more. That stuff does happen in the pros, but it seems like you see more accidents,
right,
or errors in the college levels that can just flip a game, and guys can have like breakout days that you don't necessarily see as much. Like in the pros, it's like you know who the guys are,
Yeah.
But in college, at any given day, some random guy can step up and just take the game over
Yeah.
that hasn't done anything all season. So yeah, those were both fun to watch. So yeah, Washington, keep this train rolling, I guess.
Yeah. You know what else is kind of fun? Our supporting members. So for anyone that doesn't know, we've got a supporting membership option for the Massenomics podcast. You can go to massenomics.com/join. That's where you find out more. You can see some of the details about the many perks that come along with that. It's essentially Perk City Population U if you sign up. And it is a very active community. It's growing. We like to give back to the supporting members in many different ways. Some of those ways are maybe the most important is you get access to our exclusive Discord community. It's the only way you get access in our Discord community, and it's a really positive place where there's a lot of fun stuff going on, some serious training stuff, but always just kind of with an aura of positivity around it. Or, there's like friendly ribbing and stuff like that, but it's not the normal garbage
It's ribbed
internet
for your
place.
pleasure.
Yeah, yes, it's ribbed for your pleasure. So you get access to the Discord. You get early info on drops, early access to drops. Sometimes there's exclusive merchandise that you only can get by being a supporting member. And then occasionally we do these mailings. I'll get to that. And then also we do supporting our supporting members each week where we give back. And this week, the one I just wanted to mention was Big Canadian Steve was on Unpaid and Underrated this week. Give that a listen. He had a really good story on there about basically describing his first encounters with Massenomics and why he really enjoys it and why he enjoys the community. And he wasn't even really, he was being pretty serious goose, but it was just like really, like his testimonial would make you be like, oh yeah, like that might be something I would like to be a part of too.
There's something to this here.
Yeah, right. So shout out to Big Steve on there. And then what I wanted to mention for all supporting members, make sure if you've had an address change within, like, I'd say the last year, make sure to either on Discord or Instagram, send us a DM or shoot us an email. If you're an email person, shoot us an email with that address change, because we're going to have an exclusive mailing coming up at sometime in the first quarter of this year. And we got to make sure we got all your right addresses, because this is something that's only going out to supporting members, but it is going out to all supporting members, and none of you know what it is yet. It's a big ass surprise.
I know what it is, but no one besides us knows what it is.
No one, I think literally no one on earth besides you and I knows what this is
Our
yet.
little secret.
And we don't even like fully know what it is. We kind of just mostly know what it is at this point.
Just have an idea of what it is.
Yeah. So, but we do need your right addresses. So even if you've placed other orders for like merchandise since then with a change address, this address database for our supporting members is separate. So still message us with your updated address. Thank you, supporting members.
And if you heard that and said, well, I don't have an address because I'm not a supporting member, now is the time to join, because something cool is coming your way.
Yeah, it is. There's definitely time to join now. At some point in time, there's going to be like a line in the sand where if you don't join before the line in the sand, you're going to miss out on this. If you join or strike that, reverse it, you know what a line in the sand is. I don't got to say about
it kind of
lines
goes
in the
without
sand.
saying.
There will be a line in the sand, though. There's no doubt.
There'll be a
about that.
proverbial one, and there might even be like a literal one too. We might make one.
We're gonna
just so
go
people
find
know.
sand.
Yeah.
We're gonna dump out a sandbag in the gym, and just so we can make a line.
Tanner's
going
gonna go to Wiley Beach, and if you don't know what that is, you don't want to go to Wiley Beach in January.
You don't really want to go to Wiley Beach any of the months all that bad, like the actual beach itself. Like, there's not that much reason to go onto the Wiley Beach.
Not especially.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it my turn now? Do I go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we do-
Okay. Today's show is also brought to you by Bearfoot Shoes. Bearfoot Shoes are the best barefoot shoes available. That's it. The end.
Game, set, match, love, serving 40.
We're going to keep this ad simple. The barefoot shoes are the best barefoot shoes. It is wintertime here in western northeast South Dakota. Tanner and I, we both like to keep our feet protected and warm and barefoot while we're at it. And we do that with the Barefoot Bruin boot. It is our boot of choice in the wintertime, and it's made from high-quality leathers. And it has that great barefoot construction that you've come to know and love with all Bearfoot shoes. It's available in a brown. I actually forget what the actual official color is. Is it Kodiak?
Kodiak. Is it Kodiak brown or brown bear brown?
I think it's Kodiak and black bear.
Or is it grizzly?
Yeah, there's a brown one and there's a black one. Yeah. And so it's good for any type of wardrobe or uniform restrictions that you may have in your life. And if you're not the boot type of person, well, there also happens to be a great line of high top, low top, and slip-on shoes. That would be your Ursus, your Oso line. So make sure to check out www.barefoot.store for the best dang barefoot shoes available. And while you're there, you can use the code MASS. Make sure I got that code right, Tanner. I always forget this. Yes, use code MASS. You can throw some awesome wraps in your cart, and you'll get the awesome wraps for free. So once again, thank you, Bearfoot Shoes, and you can visit them at www.barefoot.store. And Tanner, our guest, has arrived.
Before we bring on, someone already sent me their updated address.
Whoa!
Just while you were talking there. So yeah, the supporting members are on getting their updated addresses to us.
They don't want to be missing out.
Oh,
they don't want to be on the wrong side of the line in the sand.
They don't want to be the wrong side of history.
No, they do not.
All right, kick all these sons of guns out of here. Said too many nice things about them already. So we got Big Kaevon, the owner, CEO, the BOS boss of Bells of Steel, right? Is that which title do you go by?
That's my formal title, yeah.
Yeah, the BOS boss.
Yeah, I make everybody call me that.
Yeah, and Kaevon, I mean, that's how you say your first name, right? I felt like 90% confident on that. My level of confidence on your last name is maybe like a 10%. I'm going to say your last name. I've never heard it said before. So is it Khoozani?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
okay. Okay.
You got it.
So just periodic curiosity, like what is that last name? You know, what's the root of origin?
It's Iranian. So my dad's from Iran and my mom's Polish. And it means from the town of Khouzani. So
it's pretty literal then.
Yeah. I've never been there, but I heard good things.
They should call us Aberdeeny or Western Northeast South Dakota. Something like that. Work it into our name. Yeah. Okay. But you are speaking of world geography, you're a Canadian man, so you're not too far from us at times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually I've been looking forward to coming on here for a long time. I was just patiently waiting for my invite, but I was like looking up Google Maps from my house to your gym just so I could like show up one day and demand to be aired.
Well, how far is it? It's because I kind of looked a little bit. It's you're sort of straight north of us, right?
So yeah, oddly, okay. So I founded it in Calgary, which is where I am now and where kind of the headquarters is. And then we have another warehouse and showroom in Indianapolis, and then another one in Toronto. But through a series, I met a woman and ended up in Manitoba, which
classic.
is directly above you. So I go to North Dakota to fly out of Minot all the time whenever I'm flying somewhere in America. So yeah, where I live is like a straight 8.5 hour shot north of you guys pretty much. And then Calgary is just a little bit west of there.
We do need you to get you to actually come down here sometime, though. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'd love to. I had my honeymoon in South Dakota.
Really?
Yeah.
Where at?
Like the what do you call it? Like the
Black
Hills?
Yeah.
Okay. Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse and all that. Yeah, we drove down and I had a great time. It was fun.
I was really hoping you were going to say your honeymoon was in Aberdeen. That would
have. Yeah. Right.
That's pretty cool. But so, do you travel a lot then, or like, because where you live, and you talked about Calgary, you talked about Toronto, Indianapolis. Is there something also on the West Coast, or am I off on that that you have something on
we
the West?
we had this you heard of like a third party fulfillment center, like a
Sure.
3PL?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were working with one in California and LA for a bit, but it did not go well. So now we're sticking to good old Indianapolis. It's just we've had really good business partners there, and we've got a few, we've got our own showroom and employees there, and yeah, it's gone really well, but it was hard in California. It's hard finding like a good 3PL. So yeah, that wrapped up I think last year. So we're no longer working out of LA. It was
Okay.
yeah, challenges.
So Calgary is what you would consider headquarters, though, or
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, Calgary's headquarters.
How far
Yeah.
of a drive is that for you, though? Because that's not super close, is it?
It's actually further than Aberdeen. So I should.
Oh wow, yeah. So it's
yeah, it's 10 hours.
okay.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird story, but yeah, I kind of built this business like kind of remote first. Like I was really into lifting and competing and playing sports. And so this was kind of secondary to that. Like I kind of was using it to fund my foolish pipe dreams of trying to achieve something in rugby. And then so I would always work with these like third-party warehouses in different areas. So it was always kind of like I didn't need to be in a fixed place. Like even in the early days, my now wife and I went backpacking for 6 months in Asia while I was like running it from my laptop. So it's always kind of been remote first. It's been more challenging now because I do like probably my core focus of what I do these days is just like product development, and it's getting like it's harder and harder to like come up with like really dial it in, so like I come for a couple of weeks and I'll just like I'm in my testing room right now,
Yeah.
and we'll and I'll just like hammer out a whole bunch of workouts and make a bunch of notes and make a bunch of alterations and then go back to it. But yeah, in the early days I was kind of remote first, and as you know, being an entrepreneur, do you guys have day jobs too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, real job. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone jokingly said, "Don't quit your day job," and we listened, so we still have those too.
Listened ever since. I never had a real job. I was in university while I was started this, and I was bouncing in the evenings, and then I finished university and a business degree, and nobody would hire me. So I was like, I guess I'll keep doing Bells of Steel. And I kept on doing it. And then my wife was like, let's move back to where I'm from. And I was like, yeah, I'd like to start a family and not have to worry about, going bankrupt and this fledgling business. So yeah, let's go. And so kind of like financial and family motivated. And now I'm still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting talking about the start of it. So you were while you were going to university, I guess I'm speaking Canadian.
Yeah, Tanner, you're sounding so Canadian right now.
While you were going to university, we would say college, but while you were going, for the sake, just to make sure you understand, while you were going to university, you had already started Bells of Steel, though. It was something at that point. Was it called Bells of Steel? Was it like sort of turning into a real business already while you were in school?
Yeah, I guess I would have been. I took a long time to finish my undergrad, so it's probably in like my 6th year of undergrad or something.
Yeah,
and yeah, I've been working for a fitness store, and then I was a big Joe DeFranco guy. Joe DeFranco's probably. Did you guys used to follow him like back in the day? He's like Strongman Saturdays and all that.
Yeah, we're a little bit familiar. You're kind of spoiling a lot of our later over top. You've hit on a lot of you're hitting on a lot of good stuff here too. So
yeah. Anyways, so it's kind of interesting because like I guess like I came up, as a millennial and didn't really have access to the internet, and I've been lifting weights since I was 12. My entire guidance to lifting weights was like reading old muscle building, bodybuilding magazines, which is just not really applicable if you're really trying to get bigger and stronger and faster. And then I got steady access to the internet, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually how it's supposed to be training. And then couldn't really get a lot of the tools that he was using here. And then CrossFit was kind of like on the rise, and people were looking for more and more of this stuff, and I was looking for it for my own training. And oh man, I don't even know what we were talking about, but yeah, that's kind of where it came from. That was in school.
Do you think your degree helps you with what you do at Bells of Steel? Like, is there anything you pull from it? Do you think anything that?
No? Not at least where I went to school, like Alberta's like all oil and gas, like kind of in ranches, like Texasy, and so you were basically in training to go and work for an oil and gas company. So not terribly applicable, but I think just doing a degree and actually sticking to it and putting those like long-term goals is helpful, because there's not a lot of things you do in your life that take that long and to achieve.
Yeah.
So I'd say
I think that's very right. Outside, Tommy, I know we've had this conversation with other people over the years too, and that's what you said is like universally true for everyone. Has said kind of the same thing, and I would agree with it myself. And the only caveat I put on it, if you're a doctor, I suppose you need to, like that's very specific. There's certain educations that are very occupation specific, but
that has been what everyone said though. Even more, especially more at the graduate programs, or like if anything, it just teaches you to be really focused on something for 2 to 3 years and commit and hit deadlines and get stuff done, and it teaches you how to. I didn't do any of that, so I don't know. I'm just taking your guys' word for it.
Speaking of Canada, I've got a Canadian question for you. What the heck is Boxing Day?
Yeah,
I actually don't really know what. Tommy, do you?
We've all talked about.
If someone asked you to explain what Boxing Day is, what would you say?
It's like I know you can Google it in 2 seconds, but it's always been one of those things where I see it and I'm like, it's a Canadian thing, and I've never once taken the time to Google it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't entirely know the origin of it, but it used to be like our Black Friday, but then Black Friday became our Black Friday, and now Boxing Day kind of like lingering around. And I don't even know why, but it used to be like the day. Yeah, it used to be our Black Friday, and now we have Black Friday.
So when is Boxing Day usually? Like what?
Day after Christmas, 26th.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe
right.
I have no idea. I haven't it. Okay.
So you don't know that much more about it than we do, even, so that's fair.
No, I'm pretty. I'm geographically isolated in Manitoba. There, we don't get a lot of regular news or electricity.
I spent a weekend in Manitoba earlier this summer with my family. We went and we were now I forget. Tommy, I know we talked about the
I was trying so hard to remember the name of it too. It was
it was a little like French.
It was kind of by Winnipeg, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like just southeast of Winnipeg, basically.
Oh no way! Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a few of those kicking around.
Okay, it was super cool. It was super cool. So I don't know if Manitoba's all the same, but the part of it that we were in it felt like home.
It's kind of like South Dakota or North Dakota, I guess, maybe more is like this hidden gem. Is North Dakota a hidden gem?
It's hit. Most people would say hidden. I think some people would debate you on the gem part.
All the gem. It's funny though, when I fly out of Minot, I've never seen the security technology they have. They have this gigantic thing you put your bag through. It looks like a jet engine, and you don't have to take any of your liquids out or your laptop. You just put it through. It's like brand new technology. And like, why does the Minot Airport have it? I've never seen this. Like, LA or Toronto or Vancouver, but ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Okay. So Bells of Steel, back to that a little bit. So you've been up and running now for like 13 years, at least. And, I suppose it's been a slow build over that time, but I have to imagine, over 2020-ish was a huge growth time, right? I mean, was that like an enormous year where like, was that a game changer time period in there or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, for sure the whole industry, but it was also really like I started in 2010, 2009-ish. And then one of my best friends, bought in 2015. and he's mostly just not really working on it. He just kind of gave me some money and helped sign on to stuff. And then in 2018, he had quit his well-paying corporate engineering job to come on full time with us. So oddly, at like the end of 2019, we were gearing up for like our biggest year ever. Not that we released COVID or anything, but
it's starting to sound a little fishy the more you talk about it. Yeah.
And so we were like, yeah, he was on full time, and he's like I said, he's one of my best friends, super smart guy. And we had like maxed out all of our credit cards, our line of credit, our personal, his home equity line of credit, any piece of cash we could get. We were like, we're going to make 2020 the biggest year. And then all of a sudden 2020 happened, and obviously was the biggest year. From like 2000, I think from like 2019, we were a team of like maybe 5 or 6, and we just entered into the US. We weren't really selling south before then, like a little bit. And by like this year, we're a team of 7 or so, and like I think we did like maybe 3 million in sales in a year. And then this year we're like a team of 82 and doing like 20 million in sales this year or something.
That's crazy. I mean, that's a
like
big business.
Yeah, that's like, exponential growth.
Right.
Yeah. So it was nuts though. We got to the end of like, we were a little too cautious. So 2020, we're like, everyone's going to be broke. Nobody's going to buy fitness equipment. Like, let's just sell stuff like as fast as we can, like run deals or promos or whatever. And then obviously the opposite happened. So we're like short. But yeah, we just kind of kept the momentum going. In early 2021, my partner and I we were just so burnt out because it was still only like maybe 10 of us. And we were burnt out and we're kind of sick of things, even though it was going well. And we basically said, we either need to like start hiring people until we want to not quit, or like scale back and just, make some money and whatever. So we ended up hiring people and investing in infrastructure and, opening up an indie and really going hard in the States. It was great for the US too, because we were just getting our start there, and everybody would be looking for stuff, and they'd go to like Rep and they'd go to Titan and sold out. So they'd like work their way down the Google search list, and there we were like 8th place, and we're like, hey, we got some stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like massive acceleration for that too. And lucky for us, and it's been quite the trip.
Did you I mean, probably in 2009, I have to assume you didn't expect it. I don't know, like if you go to like 2015 or some time frame, did you picture that it would be a 80 employee business doing tens of million in sales? Like, did you always think that that's what was going to happen, or
did that just kind of happen?
Right.
Yeah, no, I didn't think too far ahead in anything in life. Mostly been kind of more in like survival mode. So it's like, it was nice. I never set goals like that. Like, I want to be big business or anything. I just was kind of doing what I love. And, like I said, I was really, until about 2016, I was still really focused on my own personal, like athletic aspirations. So I hadn't really thought about it. And then, never really thought about it or wanted for it or whatever.
It's like they say, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's a great.
Is that what it feels like?
It is some days. But now, like when you get bigger like this, you're like, I love to make cool products that I like using.
Right.
And like do fun marketing things or whatever. But now like so much of the business is like, you got to be sales tax compliant in 50 states, file your taxes on time.
Right.
Paperwork stuff.
Awful stuff. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
being a Canadian company with, I'm assuming, a large customer base in America, like, is there some unique problems you've had to navigate through the years with that?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like, this is like e-commerce as a whole, and e-commerce has been changing, but particularly like the sales tax nexus rules,
Yeah.
as they come up, like every few months we have a new state we have to register.
You can thank South Dakota for that one.
Oh, was it them?
Yes, they were the ones that sued Wayfair that got the whole thing going on. Yeah.
Right. I never heard about that. And we kind of have the same thing too here, but the complexities in the States too. Like there's some parts of California, like we use this special software that like calcs it all out.
Yeah.
And these guys will be like, you got a county tax, you got a state tax, you got a
some city tax. Yep.
There's like 4 lines of tax.
Right.
And then sometimes we'll get messages being like, why are you charging me so many taxes? Like, I
don't know, because you live where that is a thing.
Yeah. Whereas here it's very, it's 10% here, 13% here, it's whatever.
So then do you remit taxes to 50 states? I mean, like, it's not like you can be like,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't even know how to end that question, but just like you have to submit like 50 of those like twice a year or whatever the schedule is for that.
I don't know if we're at all 50 because there's like different votes for each state. You got South Dakota's number 1, so we're submitting taxes there. We use this special software called Avalara that helps collect and remit it on your behalf, plus our own internal guys work on it. So I don't know what they do, but it's expensive too, and there's like 2 or 3 providers in the game, and so they're all just like charging kind of a lot of money for a very basic service because there's not a lot of the people.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing when you take credit cards. It's like, oh, it's pretty simple. Yeah. You take a payment, and then it's like, oh, but they get 3% of everything I do.
Yeah, they sure do. But overall, I think about 50 or 60% of our sales now are in the U.S. Whereas 2 years ago it was like 10%.
That's
so
cool.
It's interesting seeing the difference in the customers too. Like Americans, like if they love your product, like they'll make like a YouTube video about it, like write you a detailed review, and like they will go out. But if they don't like your product, they'll do that as well. They'll make a 20-minute YouTube video like being like, scratch here and this there. But it's cool. I really like seeing it. It's been really cool to develop, and we get like I said, it's pushed us to do a lot better. Like we have put so much into like making sure our packaging is dialed in. Like that's another thing. Like UPS, if you ship from one end of the country to the other, it can go through like 5 or 6 UPS terminals. Whereas here it's just like one UPS and then like it's to your door, right? Like we don't have that. So we've had to like up our packaging level, like our packaging to, I didn't ever thought I'd spend so much time like figuring out packaging. And like even our products too, like we've really had to elevate our product design, what we come out with. Whereas we used to, like a lot of guys, like you kind of get stuff off the shelf. We do a lot more design from the ground up now, like of completely original stuff. And of course that's kind of helped our success in Canada too, because maybe we didn't have to compete as hard before because we were only one of the only guys in town. And maybe we could have been working harder to do a better job. And now it's like you have to. That makes sense.
It seems like Tommy and I even talked about it. It seems like maybe a general theme of the Bales of Steel product lines is that they've generally been becoming over time, like there's grown more and more premium options that you have, like you've developed like more, the longer you go, the more higher end, I don't know if that's the right term, but like the more premium gym equipment that, there's definitely levels to gym equipment, and, maybe the most basic, lowest price point equipment that appeals to a certain group and would be the best for them. But like you've grown where you're having more and more premium options. Is that right? Or what would you say?
Yeah, I'd say so, especially with the racks, like
Right.
getting into Hydra and the Manticore. Yeah, I think, but we've also been doing like some like kind of not too much less expensive stuff, but like yeah, premium stuff, and then some of the just like some of the product design and kind of innovation that we've done has been like help skyrocket this success. Like I don't know if you guys ever seen that, like those little cable towers there.
Yes.
Like we have them at the Arnold's.
Yep.
Yes.
And those have been around before, but we kind of made our take on it where we just like made it compatible with our power rack attachments, and now it's like one of our #1 best sellers because people are just crazy about it.
Well, another piece of equipment that strikes me that pretty nice and cool that you have is like the lat pull down low row machine. I don't know how long you've had that one.
Yeah.
And for that matter, so we've got a few pieces at Massenomics Gym. I know we've got crash pads, deadlift jack, easy curl bar. We've got a weight tree on wheels. I really like the easy curl bar that we have, the rackable easy curl bar that we have. That gets used all the time. But what would be of everything that you guys have built and sold and made, what's like your favorite piece of bells of steel equipment?
It's funny, my home gym is like a collection of like old and like bent return products and like stuff that like couldn't sell. And I'm like cheap. I'll use it. But the things I use most regularly are the belt squat machine and the arch bar. And I really love using those too. And it's funny, the belt squat is really kind of like fallen out of fashion. It was like one of our signature products a few years ago when we went into the States. I was like one of our biggest drivers, and it's just like kind of nosedived. But that's probably my favorite one. And then the ones that I want to start getting more into, I'm like gravitating away from like all of my old moral values when it came to lifting, where I was just like bar, dumbbells, that's it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I want a nice leg extension. I want leg press. I don't want to do those hard things anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, my wife opened her own physiotherapy clinic this year, and she's got a nice big space for gym in there. And I'm gonna I think bring over our ISO leg press and our leg extension. It's kind of I gotta do some work on the old twigs. So.
It's funny you mentioned what your home gym, it's like the reject toys that you end up with. And when we were at Elite FTS, Dave Tate made kind of the same comment. He's like, I've got so many bars that other people would not take that, like all those bars you see there. That's kind of what he said. He's collected a lot over the years. You've been, Tommy, were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to ask you, Tanner and I, we always talk about this with Massenomics, we're on a much smaller scale, but we're always coming out with new stuff, and you're hoping that things hit, and you never really know how people are going to resonate with anything until you release it. Has there been any products that you've released and you've just been surprised, like how much people love it or how well it sells? Like you would have never guessed the reaction people had to it.
Definitely those cable towers that I mentioned. I never really thought too much of them. I thought they were a cool product, and it was just like a nice feature add-on. But like, and you see there's like guys who've started up like their own little fabrication business, like doing additional accessories for it. Like a guy tagged me the other day. I don't know where he was, somewhere in the States. But I'll tell you what, the one that I thought was going to do the best that did the
Well,
work.
and this is maybe the better one because that's always you always have like, this is the home run, and you're like, really? No one wants this.
Well, in my early days, I was really focused on like being totally different. Like I want to have stuff that nobody else has. And sometimes the reason nobody else has it is because it's like terrible.
It's for a reason. Yeah.
It's for a reason. And yeah, they were like these oversized, heavy sledgehammers that went up to like, I think the biggest one was like 100 pounds or something. And I was like, these are gonna hit.
Yeah.
And they did not. I ended up giving a lot of oversized novelty sledgehammer, including the Joe DeFranco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What I was going to ask you, you've been to South Dakota, you've been to the Black Hills. So this will be you'll get this reference. It's a new thing we're doing with everyone. We want your Mount Rushmore, and your Mount Rushmore, Big Kaevon's Mount Rushmore is going to be, obviously you make a lot of equipment. You also have a home gym yourself. There's 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore. What would your Mount Rushmore of home gym pieces of equipment be?
Mount Rushmore of home gym pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, oh man. Okay, one of them, I don't have my own model yet, so it's kind of bad, but I've been like really trying to get more into like working out when I'm like working or like answering emails. And I got this like treadmill pad.
Yeah.
You ever see things?
Yeah.
So I threw that. Yeah. Threw it under my, and we're working on bringing our own version now. Threw that on my standing desk, and then a while ago, I started using chains, like heavy chains, as a weight vest. It's nothing new, but I noticed that when you're using them to like walk, they're like swaying around a little bit, and they like jack up your core, like give them a good core workout. So like my treadmill pad chain combo coupled with my belt squat and my arch bar is kind of my but what's like the Mount Rushmore? Is this like the greatest stuff of all time? Like what I think
I mean, it's your Mount Rushmore. You can decide.
Yeah, it's just it's whatever your interpretation is of it. So that's fair.
Yeah, those are kind of like my home runs these days.
Okay.
Just being this battered, time restricted person.
We get that.
Yeah, we can relate to that.
It's you're in the submasters category. What are you in between 35 and 40?
I am. Yeah, I'm 38.
Yeah.
But I am like a shadow of the man I used to be when I was, my prime of, lifting and playing sports. And now I'm just like, just trying to like keep my muscle mass that I
It's
built in
hard
my
though.
20s.
You have like a crazy business that you're running, but you get a business, and then you have kids and a family, and like you try to have a life, and it's like, man, that just feels like you're running like 5 businesses. It gets hard to keep up on things.
And like to a flaw, I've always been like, I want to be the absolute best at anything that I do. And if I can't be the absolute best, it doesn't particularly interest me. And so, yeah, when I was in my 20s, and actually when I turned 30, the year I turned 30, I was still playing rugby, and I was still trying to make a go of it. Actually, played in the States for a little bit in Santa Monica. Anyways, wasn't good enough. And the year I turned 30, I totally ruptured my bicep and broke my nose. So I was like, I guess I'm done. And then I just was like, okay, instead of hyper fixating on competing and lifting as much weight as possible, I'm going to hyper fixate my company. And now it's like, but I do still really enjoy playing sports. Just got into pickleball.
It's taking the world by storm.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a ton of fun. My two sports in school were rugby and ping pong. So
ping pong.
Yeah, big ping pong guy. And pickleball to me is kind of like oversized ping pong.
Yeah, right. It kind of is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any new equipment in the works that you can't talk about?
That I can't talk about?
Yeah.
I run my mouth all the time with whatever I'm developing. It's really good though. Like I've been starting to put stuff out and just like get feedback, because we'd release something and people will be like, hey, you missed, like, if you did this one like tiny thing that wouldn't cost a lot or like change a lot of the manufacturing, it would make your product 10 times better. And then we have to like come out with a Gen 2. And so we kind of got away from that. And so now I just run my mouth about everything. So let me give you a little tour.
Yeah.
Cooking up here.
The 10,000-foot view.
The 10,000-foot view. Okay, so this one is probably what I'm most excited about. The stack leg extension.
Yeah.
And kind of like what we're doing with our lat tower, with our cable towers, is we're making everything with that like consistent size tubing. So if you want to do dips on it, you could throw your dip attachment, or if you just want to put some like store stuff somewhere.
Like a drink spotter, a Massenomics
like
drink
a drink spotter. Yeah.
Because
like
what size hole was that? Was that a 5/8 inch hole?
It's 5/8, but it's this weird tubing. I shouldn't say weird. It's 60 by 60 millimeters. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's an early like tubing that was hot in the market. It's metric.
Okay.
And it kind of hits. It's like really, like it's well priced because it's manufactured in like a lot of, like they manufacture a lot of it. Whereas like our Manticore or like our Hydra, when we get that custom like actual imperial tubing, it costs more.
Okay.
And yeah, so a lot of our best sellers are still on the 60 by 60 system because it cuts the cost down like 30% or something. So it's been really popular with our stuff like that. Like,
well, it would for our magnetic drink spotter would for sure work on it. Absolutely.
Would it?
So, yeah.
I gotta buy one of those. I should have got one before.
Well, we'll send you one since you've been on the podcast now.
We'll get them up there.
Yeah.
And then this one we just released it. It's like kind of an all-in-one functional trainer, but same thing. Being able to attach stuff to it. Let me see. Oh, I know where I'll take you. I'll take you to the real prototypey area
where all the magic happens.
Where all the magic happens. So I'll take you. Let me take you through the back here. I'll go quick. Hopefully my internet doesn't cut out.
Do you have anyone left that you've made work there at 10 p.m. or have they all gone home?
I made my little brother come with me. He works for me, and he's a very hard worker. But I don't want anyone thinking he's a nepo baby, so I always, always put him. So he's, I think he's in the back. He says he's still hurting from New Year's Eve. So,
that's quite the pallet stack back there. You can build a lot of like reclaimed furniture from pallets.
Yeah, I've been trying to like figure out, like, there's got to be a better way to like get pallets or like, cheaper ones or whatever. And they're coming out. They're not cheaper, but they came out with these pressed cardboard pallets you can get now.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This one's this like weird one I've been working on for a long time, and today we kind of got like the final one going. So nobody's seen this before, but this is and I don't know if they're gonna release it, but it's a belt squat machine that you can attach a pad to and turn into a 2-in-1 hip thruster. And belt squat.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I was dinking around with it today, and I gotta get some weight on there, like some heavy weight, and see how it feels. But it's definitely interesting. And then we got the other leg extension. This one isn't terribly exciting.
Is that a plate loaded one?
Exactly. So working on a few things. Like, we put it out for feedback, and everyone's like, please make it the backrest adjustable so you can do lying leg curls. So I'm trying to hash that out.
So are those both that one and the plate loaded? Or are they leg curl, leg extension / leg curl both? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that was the kind of the biggest feedback. And then we're getting like more into like some cardio stuff. This one is actually a really interesting product. It's like a really high incline like treadmill.
Okay.
And it I'm not showing it very well, but it goes up to like, I don't know, 50 degrees or something. And I was doing it today and just, hammered my my hamstrings and gave me a great cardio workout.
talking about the cardio equipment too, you know, I think is it called your Blitz line, which is almost like you've got all the pieces, which I don't know, maybe you'd say like at a typical CrossFit gym, they have like all these cornerstone pieces of equipment that like their wads are even based around, where it's like the fan air bike, the ski trainer, the rower, and then you've also got like the motorless treadmills, I think too. And I think those are all in your Blitz line, I think, right?
Yeah. We just calling the Blitz. It was just kind of like an idea, you know, for branding for the cardio line. But yeah, we've been kind of stepping into it a bit more, you know, kind of like I said earlier, a lot of time in the early days, I was like, I don't want to do things that anybody else does. And now that we've gotten more established, when we do things that are readily available anywhere, people still like to get them from us. Just 'cause we got a good reputation.
Yeah. Like, here's a question for you. I've got I'll just say what we've got. We've got a Rogue Echo bike, you know, and I don't think you had any of your stuff available at the time when we got these yet. We have a Rogue Echo bike. We have the Concept 2 rower. We've got, I think some True Form is the brand of treadmill. But what I don't have that I thought about getting before is the ski trainer. So if I was me, which I am, and you were you, which you are, why should I buy the Blitz ski trainer? You know, versus an alternative there.
I mean, some of the stuff, it's just like it's more economic. Like it's just, it's cheaper, right? It's cheaper. It's got you know, similar warranties or whatever, and just unit economics. I like there's a couple features on the Blitz rower and the Blitz, or like the phone holder, like kind of like I'm now one of those guys who watches movies while doing cardio. So yeah, I mean, it's really the biggest part on those is price and you know, a couple little design features, but yeah, save you a couple $100.
I always like saving a few $100.
There's my robot army printing away. Yeah.
So are those are 3D printers then? Is that what that is?
Yeah. These are the 3D printed barbell collars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You had a bunch of those at the Arnold this year, this last year, 2023. Yeah,
and we made a custom pair for Arnold himself, but wasn't able to get him to him.
Did you have any leads on that? Like, could you get, like, I mean, he's like Fort Knox there. I don't think he's easily accessed.
No, I don't think so. There was one guy who was working there who was like chatting us up, and I think I gave him a keychain or something. I was like, thanks for volunteering. And then later he came by again. I was like, oh man, I made these collars for Arnold. I don't know how we're gonna get them to him. He's like, I'll try and smuggle them to him. I think he was successful.
He should have just taken them to Annette and just been like, I'm just going to keep, he'd go around to everyone and be like, hey, you got anything you want me to give to Arnold? And then he just leaves there with like 50 really cool individual, like personalized things.
Goes home with thousands of dollars worth of free stuff.
We should just do that. We should just put on like just like whatever, just a polo and says Arnold Sports Festival on it and go around collecting
Arnold's
everyone's
assistant
stuff.
For the weekend. Do you have anything you want to give him?
So dress up as security and personal detail.
So we got to meet you in person at the Arnold here in 2023 in March, which was cool, and you had a really cool Bells of Steel set up there in 2023. What are your plans for 2024? Are you going back, and what are your plans?
Yeah, we actually we're going back, and we got like an actual like one of those big corner, or like the, you know, with the
we know what you're talking about.
Whatever that floating thing is, that
yeah. Whereas last year
you're kind of you have like more like an island now almost, where
an island. That's
where last year you kind of were in like several rows together. Yeah.
But we showed up, and yeah, they were like a bunch of people around us. Like I think a couple booths maybe didn't sell, and then one of them who had like 2 booths, he just didn't show up.
Could you imagine
And
that?
yeah,
just crazy.
for $5,000 a pop or whatever.
Yes, yes.
So I went over to the organizer and was like, can I just expand out and, make it not look empty? And
Right.
we brought too much stuff. They're like, yeah, sure. So they just let us.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really intentional, but it worked out really well. So yeah, we got an island and we've been planning it for a while. It's a little tricky because, it's a little tricky to organize in general. But we're gonna do it bigger this year, and we always see this like huge uptick in March too. And I usually do you guys see that? Like, do you see like a big spike in your online sales in March?
Well, we kind of do, but we always, it's probably usually assume it's related to us because the Arnold is the beginning of March, and we've gone there and have a booth, for last several years. So our assumption is a lot of times it's tied to that, like, getting in front of some new faces, and then it rolls into online sales that month. But I don't know I don't know that to be true or not. I don't know.
Is there anything else going on in March? I guess tax returns aren't until April.
Yeah, some people can start getting them in March, I guess, though.
No,
yeah,
that could be relevant to March, I think, too.
Yeah, we've seen it even on, we're
that's true.
Our transactions are much smaller, but we found that anytime people can come by extra money, that those tend to be good months.
The extra disposable income thing, when that happens on a broad scale, that makes a difference.
Yeah, it definitely does. But so I don't know if it's like related to that, but we always see this like huge spike in March. And I think it's related to the Arnolds. We're assuming it is because we keep trying to make it bigger and bigger and, plan it further and further out. Are you guys going? Are you going this year?
Yep, we'll be there. We'll be, we'll have a similar setup to like what you do. And even just thinking about you talking, how it's like, oh, this is an undertaking. I really can't even imagine. And I actually do have a frame reference because we fill up this 10 by 10 booth, and it's a big deal for us to do that, which in comparison is small potatoes. And so I really can't imagine what it's like prepping for setting up like what you had last year, or even what you had last year, or what you're going to attempt to have in 2024. It would be wild.
It's a ton of work. It's a lot of work. I don't know if I'm going to go this year. I told my partner I wanted to exchange, like, you do 1 year, I do 1 year. I had a lot of fun last year, but it's like, you're like you're just so
wiped by the end of every single day. It just takes everything out of you.
And it's also right. There's like 4 things that I want to do all year. There's like 2 business conferences, and there's this trade show in Taipei I want to go to, and they're all within like that 7-day March period. So we're doing a big booth there, but I'm not totally sure if I'll go yet or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think he manages the Indiana where is that, or he's affiliated with it. I've met him there several times over the years. Is it Big Ryan, or is he
Andrew? Yeah.
Andrew. Okay. Big Andrew. Yeah. There you go. Close enough.
Yeah.
Ryan, Andrew, who's counting?
Yeah. He's still managing it there. We got a few other guys we hired there too. Basically, our relationship with him is like, he's an employee of Bell Steel, but he also has his own like gym, like powerlifting. I think his specialty is actually sprinting. So they do lots of sports conditioning there. And yeah, way back when we first started in Indiana, I don't even know how I got onto Indiana. Oh yeah, I found a third-party warehouse that was in Indiana, but I wanted somebody like local to be able to go there and take care of things if they need it. So I just started looking up hardcore gyms in Indianapolis on Instagram and started DMing people, being like, hey, do you want to work? and he was the only guy that replied. So he got the job.
That's kind of
And,
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we share, like we had the showroom, like we split the rent, like we rent the back space for warehousing, whatever, and then he has the front space for his, displaying the equipment, but also like people are training on it on a daily basis.
Right. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, we'll be looking. I hope you go to the Arnold. Yeah,
Yeah.
we get it if you're not going to be there, but we're hoping to see you there.
do you think people are gonna think we're twins though? And
That's why I want to see it. So you guys can,
Yeah.
you guys can switch clothes and we'll see if anyone gets confused.
I did notice your beard seems like it's coming in pretty strong. I don't
Yeah, I don't
remember
remember
it being
being
that.
that
Yeah.
I've just been letting myself go a little bit. No, I live in this small town. Like I live on a farm. It's
Yeah.
like my wife's family's farm, and then right by this small town. And there's a barber there, and she's quite good, and it's good price, like $20 for hair and beard cut, beard trim. And but she just, it's her shop and she runs the show. And I don't know, every other time I go to get my hair cut there during her business hours, she's just like, I'm not here. Like, get a haircut another time.
Yeah.
I had to do something. So I think I went like 3 times before I came, and every time she wasn't there, I was like, I guess I'm just doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got this little game we play with every guest that we have on the Massenomics podcast, and you're going to be no different. We're going to play it with you as well. It's called Overrated, Underrated, and we've got a special big Kaevon set of topics that you just have to decide if they're overrated or underrated. You can't ride the line. That's probably the biggest thing. You have to definitively decide if each one's over or under. There's no line riding allowed whatsoever. It's a very strict rule. That's about it. If you think you're up for it, we'll get playing.
Yeah. I'd love a challenge. Let's
Okay.
do it.
All right. Overrated or underrated rugby scrums?
They are the most underrated, most vital, important part of any rugby match for sure.
What is
Yeah.
the rugby scrum? Could you explain that to us?
The scrum is basically a way of just restarting play. So if you drop the ball forward, you're not allowed to obviously go forward with the ball. Play is stopped, and it's just like a way of starting it again. And it's 8 guys on each side, and they line up 3. It's 3 guys in the front, 5 guys in the middle, 1 guy at the back, and then it's just like a strength contest of pushing each other to get the ball is what it kind of was intentionally for. But now there is some pushing, and there are some guys who will push so hard that they get the ball back to their own team, but it's pretty tricky to do these days. And that's where I lived, was up in the front, which is why I'm the way I am.
So are they? I mean, is it physically taxing, or has that changed, like you were saying?
Yeah,
Like
I
the
mean,
scrum.
okay. So like, what I mean about like actually contesting the ball is like the guy putting the ball into the scrum. He'll put it in with some spin on it, and so it kind of naturally rolls back, or try to. Some refs will clamp down on it, some won't. But yeah, even just the physicality of, whatever it is, 1,700, say 1,200 pounds on each side, just jamming against each other. It's like doing your max squat. And
So
trying
when
to
is it
fall.
definitively somebody's ball then? Like I really don't completely understand. Like, is it like, no, we walked over it, like it's underneath our legs now, we can grab it and we're good, or like what?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if the hooker hooks it back through the channel of the scrum, then it's theirs. But the person who gets to put in the ball, like if I drop the ball forward, then the other team gets to put it in, because I made a mistake.
Okay, so it's not the ref feeding the ball in.
No, the ref is
okay.
basically supervising that I didn't have to, like, it wasn't like the easiest place to like punch people or do dirty things, but there's some dirty stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
And then some will, intentional or not, will pull the whole thing down. which gets really dangerous because then you have, a huge dog pile and
Yeah.
people or whatever. And yeah.
Okay. Rugby scrums. Great name
Very-
for it too, a scrum.
Yeah.
And it's very important. And there's been like some talk of like removing it or like, whatever, making it more spectator friendly. And
It's kind of maybe like American football, what they've done to the kickoff. They try to make the kickoff like not even like a part of the game anymore, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why? Because the collisions were so
Yeah,
hard?
because it is dangerous. Because you got 250-pound guys running 20 miles per hour head on at each other. But historically, it's a part of the game. But yeah, I think it's just dangerous.
I did try and in my 20s switch over to football because I was like, man, I'm pretty good at rugby, but there's no money, right? There's no scholarships, there's no money, there's no nothing.
Right.
So I switched over to a football team that was kind of like similar level to Canadian university and like potentially path forward to the CFL. But I was just terrible at it and like not built for it. I was just like a slow, kind of poorly linebacker. Didn't last long. Switched back pretty soon after.
Okay. Overrated or underrated Joe DeFranco? His name's come up a time or two here today. So
yeah, I mean he's definitely underrated now because he was the YouTube like guy, but that was 14, 15 years ago. But I've been seeing him like pumping out Facebook ads, and I emailed them too to like I don't know, do some cross promotion or something and be like, Joe, like, remember me? Inspired me. I'm probably off. But yeah, he's underrated. His old program there, West Side for Skinny Bastards. I used to run that all the time when I was getting ready for season, and one of my pivotal moments was watching. Did you ever watch the movie he put out?
No, I haven't seen it.
I don't know, like I can't remember. It's a long time ago, but like a couple maybe British guys came over, did a documentary, and you could only get it on DVD. I probably ordered it from Elite FTS. I don't remember. But yeah, watching that movie. Yeah.
Joe, did he write for like T Nation and stuff back in the day? Like, or was he like on Elite FTS? Was he writing on that site or?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I just mostly remember his YouTube stuff, and then on it, like the supplement guy, the guy, they brought him on somehow, and they like moved his gym to Austin, and he had this, but then he left. I don't know what happened, but they had some sort of partnership, but I don't know. I just remember his YouTube videos, and I don't really remember who he's writing for, if he was writing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Overrated or underrated Winnipeg?
Winnipeg. Okay. So
is Winnipeg the capital of
it's the capital of Manitoba.
Okay.
It's pretty much the only city. It's the only real city in Manitoba. The next, it's like I think maybe 400,000 or 500,000 population. And the next city, next largest, next largest is like 50,000.
Okay.
But they're definitely underrated. So, fun fact about Winnipeg is Chicken McNuggets were piloted there.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Changed the world right there.
Changed the world. The world changers. They're so geographically isolated from any major metropolitan. The closest major metro is Minneapolis, which is I think 6 or so hours south.
Yeah.
Anything else is like, next to that is like probably like Calgary for like major cities, which is 10, 12 hours. And so I guess because it's so isolated, it's like a good place to test products. Like,
okay.
It's like going to a country that hasn't had contact with the outside world. Like,
right.
It's its own petri dish.
But it's also like, it's got a really good food scene. It's got a good art scene. Not a big lifting scene there, but there's a few guys that have or one guy that I used to train with has a great gym. And it's also like in this time of, crazy cost of living. And I guess you guys in South Dakota probably still have it pretty easy, but Winnipeg is still one of the most reasonable cities in Canada.
Okay, so they haven't had that, because I see it in the news too. Like the Canadian cost of living has like just got totally out of control. But so Winnipeg is still somewhat realistic.
It's gone up, but you could still very much. I shouldn't say very much, but much more realistic to buy a home there than it would even Calgary's gone pretty bonkers.
Isn't like Vancouver, for example, isn't it crazy? Like,
isn't that like the most expensive in North America? Is it?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's 1.5 or 2 million for a detached house on average there now, like average. And I grew up on.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And they don't have, like they have some industry there, but if you go to Toronto, okay, it's expensive, but you can get higher
jobs. Yeah.
But in Vancouver, it's pretty limited. And I grew up in Victoria, which is Vancouver Island. It's like an island off of Vancouver, where the capital is. And I remember when I was 20, me and my meathead buddies, shared a 2-bedroom apartment for like $700 a month in 2005 or whatever. And that same apartment now is like $2,500 a month or something. Like it's gone cuckoo.
How about over there is Orcas Island? Have you ever been there before?
Orcas?
Is it Orcas Island? Orcas Island?
Orcas Island? No, I don't know.
I got to look here. Tanner, you go ask your question. I'm doing.
Okay, because it was funny. I switched it to Winnipeg. I was going to ask you overrated, underrated Vancouver Island. I didn't know you lived there though, but I was curious about Vancouver Island because have you ever seen the show Alone before? It's like
yeah, yes, I forgot about that show. Yeah.
It's I don't know if it's like a Netflix I think it might be Netflix reality TV show, really is what it is, where they drop like 10 people into remote Vancouver Island with like very limited resources, and it's whoever can survive the longest living off the land, and it's, as far as reality TV show go, I think it's fairly legit. And
I actually, Tanner, you described the show to me, and I watched it, and I was shocked how good it actually was.
Right, like that it's actually legit. Like these people are presumably really out there, like by themselves, alone, and but it's on Vancouver Island.
Yeah, that's where me and my partner are from, and became friends in high school. But yeah, it's incredibly beautiful there, and anywhere else in Canada, like you guys got Florida, you got California, you got Arizona, New Mexico. Like if you want to live somewhere hot, you can go somewhere hot.
Right.
Here we don't have anywhere, and the closest thing we have is Victoria. And I never really appreciated it when I was younger. Like I used to ride my bike to work in the winter, and anywhere you step, any other city or anywhere else, it's just snow and punishing and bitter cold. Yeah, it's like this island paradise.
I did look though. I did find it. Orcas Island it's one of those islands just east of Victoria, between Victoria and like Washington. But way back in the day, there was this skateboarding video I watched. It was like these guys were on tour, and they went and they stopped at Orcas Island, and I remember thinking, this doesn't even seem real. It seemed like the coolest place ever. And yeah, that I had to look. That's where it's at though.
Oh, interesting. No, I haven't heard of that one. I know I've only been to one Gulf Island. But one thing about Calgary is, did you guys get into Last of Us?
I haven't watched that yet. I have it on my list. I haven't done it yet though.
Oh, well, it was filmed here.
Okay.
All schools, yeah.
Okay. All right, last overrated, underrated topic, and we usually save the most important for the last. It's worth all the marbles. Everything comes down to this. So, overrated or underrated? I'm going to say a name. I think you'll know this. Overrated or underrated? Coco.
Coco. She's underrated.
Yeah. So, who is Coco?
Coco is Ice-T's wife. that like a Reddit post I did, or where did you find that? Or maybe it was on my About Us page.
I think that's where it is. I don't like to give out my sources usually, but yeah, I think that's where I came across that. So you said underrated for Coco, and could you explain your connection?
I don't think she's like, oh, our connection. When I was Victoria being like so beautiful, that we would actually get really good, talented, pretty famous musicians and rappers coming there to play. And Ice-T came to my club, and I was one of the bigger, more intimidating looking bouncers, so I got to do duty and like the VIP and where Coco was hanging out for that night. And I just like stood next to Coco and didn't really talk much. Escorted her around, and then when they left, this was pre NCIS, or what's he on? What's the one he's on? Law and Order.
Okay, yeah,
I can't keep him straight either.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah,
pre Law and Order. So I don't know if the budget was a little bit tight, but like I escorted them upstairs when they were waiting for a cab, and I was like, all right. And then he got paid. He got paid in a big fat stack of American dollars.
nice.
And I'm like, all right, here comes my tip. And he slapped my hand and he said, "Oh, thanks, big homie," and got in his cab and went.
He gave you nothing. Yeah,
That gave me nothing other than the story, which
Yeah.
is more than any
priceless.
dollar. Yeah, priceless. But yeah,
Could you find out, does Ice love Coco?
I don't recall like their interaction. I remember seeing her, and I guess to this day, like I've never seen somebody look like that in real life.
She was kind of ahead of the curve. Like she's had that look for a long time, and now that look that she has is the look every girl tries to have on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Maybe you're right. But I remember, just being like, I've never seen somebody in real life look like this. But I think that like we kind of get that too, because we get so much media from the States, and like the way you guys talk in shows and movies, like we don't talk like that. So when I go to the States and I see people and I hear them talk and I see other dress, I'm like, this is like a movie. I'm in a movie. Like I don't.
Yeah.
See,
it's
funny you're
reality.
saying that, because usually people are like saying it the other way to us, like, "Oh, you're not one of us."
Yeah, we're cast out. We're more closely related to you than we are the rest of this.
Honorary, right, Canadians. But yeah.
To you, do we sound Canadian or do we sound American?
Extremely American. Yeah.
Really?
American. Yeah.
That
is funny because we get called out so much for the opposite of that,
Or like you sound like neutral or like Canadian,
or more like maybe like a Minnesotan
Minnesotan
accent. That's what people tend to know, like that,
right.
which is kind of like Canadian adjacent though, in a way, almost.
Right.
It's like borderline that. Yeah.
We don't like. I guess we have like a little bit, but like most of our hard accents are like people from Newfoundland and French people, obviously. But like you can't go to like BC or Alberta or Manitoba, or Saskatchewan. Most of the country, everybody just kind of sounds pretty much the same. I think some stuff in the rural areas a little different, but yeah,
Good
not
stuff.
like every 20 miles you get a different.
Yeah, there's quite a variety in the States. Yeah. Well, that's really good. I think this is really fun. What else? Is there anything else someone should know about Bells of Steel that you don't think we asked you about? That you, if someone's listening and they're kind of learning more about you for the first time, that they should know?
Probably just that we're a home gym equipment company selling pretty innovative stuff and getting more into the premium equipment, and we got some big stuff planned. And I think one really important thing after COVID is that we're here to stay, right? We've been here for 14 years, and so if you're ever making that decision between us and maybe a newer person or somebody not so weathered, it's a big factor. Yeah, 14 years. I can't believe it. But I remember seeing like the post-COVID, just seeing these kind of pop-up competitors just every
Yeah.
few months, one would drop, new one would drop, new one would drop. And a lot of the time they leave them hanging. Like I don't want to say the name, but like a bigger company from the States, they're still going. But they had a Canadian division, and then the US company and the Canadian division ran into financial troubles, and the Canadian one filed for bankruptcy and like left all these people hanging. Like they had been waiting for their pre-orders for so long they couldn't even do the chargebacks. And yeah, anyways,
Oh,
we're here to stay. We're here to stay, and we got some really cool stuff coming.
Is
Awesome.
there last question I have, if you want to throw anyone in their bus, is there any other gym equipment companies that really piss you off that you could just do without?
Yeah, I sure can. Not that I say their name. So
yeah.
But I'll counter that with some companies that I think are doing a really great job. I think Rep has been doing a really interesting thing. I think that, even though we're competitors, I think maybe doing our own things and letting people decide. But I chatted with them at Arnold's, and they were really nice. And, I think we're both in it very much for the same reason, helping more people, get fitter and more access to cool stuff. And then same with Peter Keller from Fringe, is a really nice guy. He's in one of my business groups, and I think they do interesting stuff. And he's very passionate about the actual community. So it's cool to see, these guys that are my competitors, but I think we're working towards like an overall, I don't want to say like better life, because that sounds a little bit more important.
Yeah.
But like better life for people.
Right.
So yeah, I think those guys are doing cool things. And then you ever heard of Irwin Fitness?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Are they Canadian? Are they
They're
Canadian?
like
an
an hour drive from my house.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
He's in middle of nowhere too. And I've only ever talked to him. I got to go and visit him sometime.
They make some pretty high end stuff also.
Yeah. And he's like cooking it up in his little shop there in Carberry, Manitoba. And he is doing some really beautiful designs. And I think he's still doing well too. So
what's in the water in Manitoba up there?
I know,
It's
right?
like the Ohio of the North.
Yeah, it's funny too. I like during COVID, I was looking, we offshore our product line, and I was looking to do more stuff in Canada, and it was hard to find anybody, and it was very expensive and like cumbersome. But a lot of the local manufacturers in Manitoba are like Hutterite colonies.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hutterite communities are in South Dakota here too.
Yeah. So I guess one colony will specialize in hog farming, and one will specialize
Turkeys,
in
storage sheds.
Yeah.
Or, building sick home gym racks.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I was really hoping to get like more negative comments out of you, but I guess we'll just have to deal with the positive ones that you gave to everyone.
When I come and visit you, I'll give you all the
well, you have an open invitation anytime. We would love to have you
right.
come down here. So, and we do really appreciate you taking the time. I hope you have do you have a cot set up somewhere in there around those pallets that you can just get to sleep in the facility at the night when you're there?
It's funny when so this was a new build, like we lease it. And when we first got it, I was like, we got to plan the layout, and I was like, I want a shower in there because I'm going to sleep whenever I come, not stay at the hotel. I'm sleeping there, but I've never done it.
Oh,
Tonight could be the night.
yeah.
Yeah. Tonight could be the night. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Awesome. Well, we do really appreciate this. Was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm so glad I got to come on, and thanks for having me.
We'll see you in March, hopefully. Then.
Yeah, see you in March, and if not, I'll come in the summer. We'll do another road trip.
There we go. Awesome.
I was looking at water parks on the way, so take my kids to some water parks.
Yeah. There's Western Northeast South Dakota has a decent water park, so you can at least get in on one when you're here.
I had some brochures mailed to me, so I've
Okay.
been
Okay.
in my downtime.
All right. Thanks, man. We appreciate
thanks,
it.
Kaevon.
Okay, talk to you.
Cool beans.
Manitoba cool beans.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if those were Manitoba cool beans. That he
You
got
can
a
tell
double
they're
dose of
cold
Manitoba
because they're north of
Yeah.
the border.
because they're from Manitoba.
It's from our friends south of the border that are north of us.
Yeah, Manitoba. I guess they might actually be north of us since they're literally on the map.
Yeah, they're still part of our friends that
are
are south of the border. They're just happen to be
Right.
north of us in this case.
Right. They're not like those Toronto posers that are
No.
like south, that are literally south of us.
No, not at all. Have you seen? Actually, that reminds me. I wanted. I might hold off on this because I wanted to ask you about this for a while, but
Is it?
well, I kind of want to. I kind of was thinking about making a game out of it. You know what?
Oh, we better wait. I always like a good game.
I mean, we could do the game right now if you wanted. By the time you read an ad, actually, is it ad time or not?
I do need to. Yeah, I should read an ad. Actually, I'm going to talk about Build Fast Formula. Check them out at buildfastformula.com. Build smart, build strong, build fast. Come with me. If you want to build smart, build strong, and build fast, you've got Vaso Blitz, Full Blitz, 80/20 Protein, Blitz 3D, Drink Hack, and Glyco Hack. My favorite product of theirs is the 80/20 Protein. It's got a combination of whey protein and casein proteins in there. I like the chocolate one. It tastes delicious. And then, of course, the Massenomics overarching favorite has got to be the Vaso Blitz. It's got a Massenomics cult-like following. The first, final, and last pre-workout that you will ever need. Use discount code Massenomics when you're at buildfastformula.com. That'll save you 10% on your order. On every order that you purchase there, you can continue to use that code. And then if you get a subscription of any of these products, like the protein, for example, you're going to you're going to want a new one each month. Sign up for the subscription. You save another 10%. The code, the subscription, 20% off, makes it so affordable you can't afford not to purchase it. Thank you, BuildFast.
Tanner, I'm confused. Did you read the Strength Co ad already?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh, we didn't read ads before he came on. That's
right,
why. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I've got. So we each have one more.
Because I read.
You read, but I didn't.
Oh,
this time.
okay. That's why I was confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was
you were
really
like
playing
catch up
mind
there.
games with me there. My
No.
brain was really, really confused. Okay, are you ready
I
for
was
this?
playing catch up, so we'll finish with a couple ads today.
Okay, are you ready for this game? I've wanted to play this with you for a long time, and I've actually never. I don't know why. I've told everyone to write everything down, and I usually write things down. For some reason, I never wrote this one down.
Is this a Saw style game? Like,
let's just say your life is actually on the line here, so
Okay.
you're not going to want to get anything wrong. But
well, now I'm nervous.
Maybe this isn't much of a game. Maybe, for all I know, you already know these answers. But have you ever looked at a map of Europe overlaid
God,
on a
I'm
map
not
of
gonna know.
America by latitude?
So you're saying where it actually lines up north-south?
Yeah, like where our
feels
cities
pretty far north. Like just if I'm thinking about a globe. So no, I don't know that. No, I don't. I'm not going to do well at this, I feel like. I don't even know where to start to think about it.
Okay, so I'm just going to say an American city, and then I'm going to say a European city, and you have to decide if it's north or south of that American city. Okay? Okay. Okay, so we'll start... we'll start. I want to say we'll start easy, but I'm like, I don't even know.
I don't know if any of them are easy because I don't know. I don't even have like a reference point where like one that I know is.
Okay, here, let's try this. Okay, Rome. You know where Rome is, right?
Yeah, Italy. Rome. Yeah,
Rome, the Roman Empire.
I've got an idea. Yeah,
the Roman Empire was named after Rome, I think. Rome.
I often think of the Roman Empire many times daily.
Is Rome north or south of Denver?
Like, it's funny when I picture the globe, most of Europe feels kind of north to me, but I think of Italy
as basking in the sun. And
right.
Yes.
That's what I think of there. But when I think of it actually on the map, I think of like North America. And like, if you're watching, I think of North America and then Europe, and you can see like the
See, that's pretty
line
good
I'm
because
making here.
my mental model was always like, well, it's just straight across
It's
the
straight
ocean.
across.
You go straight across the ocean, which
Yeah.
know.
I feel like if I think of draw the lines, what I think of the globe, it seems north to me. But when I think of the climates, I've got to go with Rome as south of Denver. And I say that with almost no certainty, but that's why I think it, because of the climates that I picture in my head.
and you are incorrect. Rome
Okay.
is a fair amount north of Denver, actually.
Okay.
In fact, Rome is actually even north of Omaha while we're at it.
Really?
Just a little north of Omaha.
Yeah.
So that's one that is kind of surprising because it's like, oh, Rome. People kind of have a mental model of what that is, but
Right.
yeah, not the case.
I've certainly never pictured snow there before.
No, not at all.
Like the Colosseum,
but
like covered in snow.
that is one of the benefits, I guess, of being located on, the ocean or I guess
ocean,
the
and I
Mediterranean
suppose-
Sea.
Well, yeah, I guess Denver is a mile high. Rome is probably at sea level.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a big difference there too.
Okay. How about Paris? Paris, France. Oh, oui. Eiffel Tower. Is that north or south of Minneapolis?
These are all really hard because I don't know. And climate there again, I certainly think of Paris as being a more moderate climate than Minneapolis. But I think Paris is north of Rome. I will say, although this makes no sense to me, just starting to maybe correct my course, I'm going to say that Paris is north of Minneapolis.
Paris is way north of Minneapolis.
Okay.
Way north. Like
That doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, I get it. I get why it makes sense, and that's why I answered the question. But like, that seems odd.
yeah, and I have no way to tell you, like miles or anything, but yeah, it is considerably north of Minneapolis. Okay, here's another one. London, England. London, England. Is that north or south of Winnipeg?
Winnipeg. I just drove there. It is a ways into
In Canada. It's up there.
Canada. But then you even said Paris is a ways north of Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And I think London is more north than Paris. I think. I know almost jack shit. I know that let's see, the Great Britain Island and France are right next to each other. The English Channel just separates them. So I know that, but I think that UK island is a little more north than the country of France, generally speaking, a little bit. I'm going to say this makes no sense. This has to be wrong, but I'm going to say that England is north of Winnipeg.
London
And I feel like-
is
London.
London is north of Winnipeg.
Huh.
Not by much, but it is north of Winnipeg. So
is there something different? Is it where is there something about Earth that the Eastern Hemisphere weather
I think
varies just significantly from the Western Hemisphere?
I mean, it could be that, but I think they're all on the ocean, I think is what it's
So
doing.
it's the
Like it
it's
has
the
to be, right?
elevation and
What else?
right.
I don't know what else could do it. And then I think you just get that warm ocean air or
Right.
warmer ocean air
Right.
than, we get
Right.
none of that. We just get these cold wind, this Dakota breeze.
Landlocked, right.
But actually looking at that game, it was
So
hard.
London is north of Winnipeg
Yeah. And what was the one I said before that? Minneapolis
and Paris.
Paris. Paris, if it was overlaid, is like on the U.S. American border. Yeah, it'd be basically
Canadian
over
border, yeah.
Montana, the Montana Canadian border, if you
Yeah.
were to do the overlay. But because if you look at it though, like Vancouver, same thing. Vancouver is north of us.
That's a good point. That's a better
and
way
they
of thinking of it.
same thing
yeah.
like Seattle, and they're on that ocean there, that
Right.
that bay, and they're kind of in that same realm as like Paris. Like Vancouver and Paris are pretty similar as far as latitude goes. And then you look at it, it's like, okay, well, that makes a little more sense. But like Germany, you know, like in my mind, I wasn't sure just where Germany is at. And the fact that overlaid on a map, Germany is basically Canada. Just
That
is bizarre
only
to me.
picture that I picture slightly more just, and the only reason I think of it that way is just from World War II stuff of like the Battle of the Bulge. And
But to me, like,
you know,
when I picture the Battle of the Bulge, I'm basically picturing like the plains of the Dakotas.
right,
But it's like,
right,
no,
right.
it was significantly north of that even. But it does show like that weather. Yeah, once you start to get inland there, the weather does start to make more sense actually.
Right. Yeah, that is kind of wild. That's a good little game.
Yeah. And in case you're wondering, south, Houston is about even with Cairo, Egypt. So
Wow.
yeah, that's maybe even more weird. Actually, I didn't even notice that one down there. Cairo. Yeah. Jerusalem is fairly even with Dallas. What else is there? Yeah. Baghdad is pretty much even with Atlanta. Like, you know, it seems like just,
Yeah.
like in my mind, that's like square on the equator. You're in the desert.
Right.
And it's like, no, that's like in America.
Right. That's kind of wild.
Yeah. So that was our fun impromptu game this week.
I like that.
We'll
game.
say you kind of passed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the game taught me. The only reason I really got the other ones right is because the game was teaching me as
You
we
learned.
played it.
You were
but,
using your
yeah.
context clues.
Yeah.
And really working
I
your way
used
through
my
it.
strength.
Yes.
I used my strength.
Yes. I did. I have to report. I listened to most of the Blink-182 album.
Oh, let me.
It's been a while.
Well, kind of like that, except not Stained Blink-182. But it has been a while. It did take me a while to get to it.
It's been a while.
I don't know if I was a fan of it, to be honest. To me, and I was I growing up was a huge Blink-182 fan. Where I think Blink-182 is at their best is when they're being really lighthearted, fun, dumb, kind of immature. I mean, that's what they did. They were dumb, fun, pop punk, immature.
Right.
And it is just a weird thing. Like, to me, that was when they were at their best. But like when you're in, I don't know, like your 40s doing that,
they're old.
It's
like,
sort of weird to do that because that works
Right.
better when you are dumb and immature.
If you're 20, that's kind of like.
Or even like in their case, I think they're like 18 or 17
Right.
even for some of their earlier stuff. So that's just like where you get stuck in a spot where, and I have no problem with artists maturing and changing their sound. Actually, I would prefer artists to mature and change their sound as time goes on and not release the same album over and over again. But
Right.
especially in the case of like pop punk music, I think it works so good because it is dumb, immature, fun, stupid music. And then when you get older, you can't really play that card anymore because it just doesn't work. And then you do a more mature
point.
grown up thing. And the more mature grown up thing in my ears sounds much more generic and less exciting for me, less raw. And it is it's way more polished too. So it was fine. I'd probably, if I had to rate it, I'd probably put it somewhere around like a 6-ish if I had to.
Yeah. So you didn't necessarily enjoy all the small things about the album.
No,
but it was-
no. And I did say I miss you to the old stuff a lot. So, so yeah, I did listen to it.
Finally, follow up on
People
Blink-182.
have been waiting for that one for a long time.
Now, if you would just watch The Wire someday.
I listened to most of the Blink-182 album, so now you have to watch all of The Wire. It was a fair deal.
Well, I guess it's what I said one of those times. Oh, yeah. Blink-182.
I got a...
What about... Yeah, what's
no,
this?
go ahead.
No,
you're
I
wondering
was
what
just
this
gonna
is?
ask you what you, yeah, I want to know what this is.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, when I say Steamboat Willie, what comes to mind?
Something's kind of on the tip of my tongue on that. Steamboat Willie. I don't know, like Adam Sandler or something comes to my mind. Like it's just I'm drawing parallels to like Toll Booth Willie. So when you say Steamboat Willie, what I think about is Adam Sandler doing Toll Booth Willie.
Again, see, I don't even know what Toll Booth Willie is.
Is that? And maybe I'm making that. Maybe
Well,
that's
I don't know.
a
I don't know some.
bastardization of
I don't know some Adam Sandler stuff, so I could be.
Toll Booth Willie. Yeah, that's it. That's right. Okay, it's like adult. Isn't that Is that where it's like $1.25 per?
Maybe if I heard it again, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I know you have all of these songs like memorized completely from this
Yeah.
album. I don't
Yeah.
know. I never had the full album or any friends that did, so I just knew like some of the more popular ones from it.
Yeah, Toll Booth Willie. Yeah.
But I'm sure if I heard Toll Booth Willie, I will have to listen to it after this. I'm sure if I heard it, I probably would, because it was like one of those things where you had a brother or you had a friend that had an older brother that had the
that was
CD.
old enough to.
So
yeah.
every once in a while, you get to go in their room and play some of it, but like they didn't want you to be in their room, so you didn't get to play all of it, and you were too young to have CD players in your room. Like that was the kind of my experience with that.
So when you say Steamboat Willie, I think of Toll Booth Willie. That's the number one thing I think about.
It's not quite adjacent. I guess it's adjacent in the same way that they're in the entertainment industry. Steamboat Willie was like the earliest incarnation of Mickey Mouse. And so if you've ever seen that black and white drawing of like Mickey at like a ship's wheel.
Well, someone did there must be. Okay, so this is obviously in the news because I saw someone had a meme in the Discord this week where they made the wheel the Strengco plate.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this is what's going on is, and I'm going to be paraphrasing here, and I'm going to do a poor job of paraphrasing because I read the article on this a couple days ago. But so Steamboat Willie was like the earliest version of Mickey, and then I don't
by
know
Disney.
Yeah, and I don't know how it changed, if it was because I believe Walt Disney made Steamboat Willie. Yeah, Walt Disney first released the cartoon short Steamboat Willie in November of 1928. It's one of the first cartoons to use synchronized sound. It'd be, super popular. And then I don't know the full details of it, but somehow that, morphed into Mickey Mouse. They look very, very similar. But it morphed into Mickey Mouse, and, Disney's gone on to be what Disney is today that everyone knows.
What did they ever do with that, though?
Right, yeah. But what's interesting about it is U.S. copyright law, the longest it can extend is, and this is where it gets so confusing. Disney has lobbied many, many times over the years to extend copyright law because it is in their interest to have copyright extend as long as possible.
Right, because like Mickey Mouse, for example.
Yes, like they get the copyright, because I don't think stories like Snow White and things like that, I don't believe that, even Bambi, I don't believe, Disney wasn't the ones that made these, but they were the ones that like made it popular and somehow got their copyright on it. So they've been able to have exclusive rights to these stories for so long. And so through lobbying over the years, they've been able to extend those copyright laws out.
Yeah.
And it says in 1998, Disney once again successfully lobbied with other entertainment companies to extend copyright protections to the life of the author plus 70 years for a maximum of 95 years. Well, for however that time was ticking, it hit that in January of 2024, which is where we're at, the copyright on Steamboat Willie officially expired, and Mickey Mouse, that version of Mickey Mouse, is now in the public domain.
Anyone we could make a shirt with Steamboat Willie on it.
Yes, so we could make, and I've seen some of the accounts that I follow that do really, really dumb shirts already, like have one, it's Steamboat Willie at the thing, and it just says "fuck you, asshole" huge on the shirt. And they're like, we can legally make this. It's which is kind of crazy. So
good. I'm not, just for the record, generally speaking, I'm not in favor of people being able to keep this intellectual property for hundreds of years.
Oh, in
like
perpetuity,
that,
just forever, to own an idea. Like, that's not how ideas should work. You shouldn't be able to just own an idea forever.
Right. And I also am not don't need to look out for Walt Disney's, Disney's best interest at this point.
Yes. And so there's lots of articles that have been written about this and what this means and everything. But a more recent example that I didn't actually understand that it had even happened was this recently happened a couple of years ago for Winnie the Pooh. And I didn't know that took place. And so what had happened, and this totally slipped by my radar, was that there was I think a slasher film of Winnie the Pooh that came out. Someone took it to the most extreme.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And and this came out a couple years ago because Winnie the Pooh went through the exact same thing. Winnie the Pooh's now in the public domain. People can use him how they want. And I think for the most part, people can't really fight it. But if you look at the headlines, there's already ones here. Steamboat Willie horror film announced as Mickey enters public domain. So all types of things will be going on. I would imagine there'll be all types of books, probably children's books, bunch of things. I do think they have to be like careful to not come off to look like they're Disney, you know, like they can't look like it's Disney releasing this. It has to be clear that it's someone else. Like it's not just you can do anything at all with it. I mean, there are some loose guardrails in place, but for the most part, it sounds like people can take their crack at Mickey Mouse, or at least the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse.
What did you say the one T-shirt was that you saw?
It was just giant. I mean, if you Google the picture of Steamboat Willie, it's the thing that comes up. It's him at the old-fashioned wooden circular ship's wheel.
Yeah.
And just giant on it, it says, "Fuck you, asshole." It's just Mickey Mouse smiling at his ship's wheel.
Yeah.
Which would be hilarious to see that in person.
and it being legal.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Yeah. Yep.
That is funny. Oh, good. I'm not against that.
No. Let the intellectual property free. Let it go.
Yes.
Got too many rich, powerful people keeping the man down.
Yeah. Speaking of Steamboat Willie, like I said, someone made the plate out of the Strength Co. Now I get the joke a little bit. They're like,
that makes
this
more
is gonna
sense.
Be
I did.
Strength Co.'s new mascot or whatever it was.
That didn't dawn on me until you actually said that, because I never put two and two together. I'm like, oh, someone just made a dumb meme. But now, that does make more sense now.
Yeah. American-made Olympic iron plates and barbells. That's what you can find over at the Strength Co.
Wait, the Strength Co.? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, the
Are
Strength
they
Co.
up to their old bullshit again?
They're back on their bullshit again over at the Strength Co. And it just so happens their bullshit is selling the best, the hands down best made in America Olympic iron barbell plates on the market. So you thought it was going to be new year, new Strength Co. No. Back to the same old bullshit that they've been known for.
Yeah. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
The more that you think maybe they're going to go away from it and make like a lower quality plate that's not made in America, something that's not black E-coated with this finish that makes it smooth yet easy to grip and that lasts essentially a lifetime. You think they're going to stop doing any of that? Nope. Same. Right back to their old bullshit.
Same old bullshit. Yep.
Yeah. If you thought they're going to get off their bullshit, you were sorely mistaken. They are back.
Try again in 2025 and we'll see.
If you thought they were all of a sudden going to have expensive shipping in 2024, no. Back on their bullshit. Some of the most affordable shipping in the market for plates of this caliber, of this quality. And you thought they were going to limit their product line and not carry everything from 1 1/4 pound plates all the way up to Hondus
and rubber plates too. No,
they're most certainly back on their bullshit. Check it all out at thestrength.co.
You want to get on their bullshit? Go to thestrength.co.
They're back on their bullshit. The Strength Co. We're back on our same old bullshit.
It's all about the he says, she said bullshit.
But the Strength Co. owned by Big Grant, and Big Grant is absolutely back on his bullshit.
And today's show is also brought to you by Texas Power Bars. Buddy Caps first started lifting weights in the late 60s and began powerlifting in the mid 70s. At the time, he was working for Image Barbell building gym equipment. Around 1976, a local machine shop started making Olympic bars for them, calling it the Image Bar. In 1979, Buddy bought his first lathe to begin addressing the known issues. In 1980, his passion, drive, and purpose now had a greater mission. Buddy set out on his own to make what he believed was the greatest bar he had ever seen and trained with, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house with the best knurling and was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, and world powerlifting records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and buy one of their legendary bars, visit texaspowerbars.com.
Kind of sounds like Texas Power Bars is back on their BS too.
Mm-hmm. You could say they've been on it for 50 years.
I've got some exciting Texas Power Bar. Wow. Maybe I'll save some of that. Okay.
See you looking around over there, checking the clock.
I'm
damn, we're at 2
wondering-
hours and 17 minutes?
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering if
Okay.
I just need to save some of this good stuff for. I guess there's in the world of Massenomics, you can always rest assured that there's always next week, right?
You know what? We're always going to be back on our bullshit every single week.
It's like a guy used to tell me at the gym. At the gym, you don't want to get too big all at once.
Mm-hmm.
In the podcast world, you don't want to get, I don't know, what do you do in podcasting? You don't want to podcast too much all at once.
Yeah.
You don't want to inform your audience too much all at once.
You don't want to give them
save
too
something
much
for next
content all at once. You got to tease them along.
Right. So
Tease
I've
them
got
along
some
for 400 plus weeks.
I've actually got a lot of interesting gym equipment. Massenomics
teaser.
gym equipment talk coming up.
Jeez.
So
spoiler
exciting.
alert on this thing.
I've got some showcase pieces that are en route to
Whoa.
Massenomics Gym as we speak. Some very very interesting plates for one thing.
Wow.
It'll be the oldest plates in existence now at Massenomics Gym.
In the
Some
existence
teaser
of the
there.
history of the world.
Yeah, the history of the world for sure. Definitely the history of Massenomics Gym within the world. And then also going to be some updates on our 2024 Massenomics Gym barbell watch.
What?
So already going to start.
Okay.
So-
You have my attention.
Episode 406. Stay tuned. It's possible I could remember to talk about this stuff, or I could forget.
All right. Well, I'm not going to let you forget because I'm putting it in our list right now.
Oh,
New
if it's in a sauna,
gym
then
stuff. It's
then it's
basically
gospel.
Yep. Set in stone.
Yep, we can't. There's no going back now.
No.
Can't hold anything back now. We didn't hold that anything back this episode, did we?
We did not.
The only thing I didn't tell you is maybe go check out Massenomics.com where we have our merchandise like this MSS NMX hats. We've got a few of these left, these hats, not too many. We don't have a lot of hats. We do have a decent supply of drink spotters right now. We got the drink spotter light, like we've seen earlier, and then the classic drink spotters that fit either your 1-inch or 5/8 inch pin size. And then we got a restock of our powerlifting record holder tee. So I think as of now, you can catch that tee in all sizes from small to 4X. We might be out of extra small now, but small to 4X. And then we've still got some of our brown varsity tees that I really like.
Yes.
The underrated tee just says Massenomics in our varsity font across the front arched, and it's a brown tee.
One of the benefits to having me as part of your family means you get Massenomics stuff for Christmas, and several people throughout my family got the brown varsity shirt, and all of them said, "Oh, I like this color." That was the unanimous review. Yeah, people loved it.
I gave that one to my mother, I think, also, and her response was, "I like the color."
Mm-hmm.
So do not sleep on that brown tee. The one other piece of merchandise that I'd highly recommend that I'm looking at, I know we've at least got large XL, 2X, and 3X right now, is the long sleeve pocket tee.
Oh, yes.
If you're listening to this and you don't own our long sleeve pocket tee, it's got the Massenomics patch on the pocket, and then it says Massenomics in white, and it's a black pocket tee. I love that thing.
Mm-hmm. It's great because it's so versatile. It can be a going out shirt. It can be a going to the gym shirt. It can be a staying warm shirt. It does all of them perfectly.
It actually does. I know it's kind of a joke, but like it actually is really good at all of those things. And it's got a nice lengthy fit to it. Underrated on our long sleeve pocket tee. You would have to be some stupid horse's asshole to not go buy one of those right now.
Hey, he said it, not me.
Yeah, it gets serious if I say you're going to be a stupid horse's asshole if you don't get one.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't throw that out lightly.
No, it's usually pretty serious if that comes up. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode 405 in the Massenomics saga. Tommy, where do they find you at?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can follow me at Tanner_Baird. Just please make sure to follow Massenomics at Massenomics.
See ya.